Well, Chiefs fans, they finally did it. The Chiefs actually put resources and investment into the running back position after years of us asking them to do it. And this time, Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker is going to be a Kansas City Chief. He's one of the guys I wanted when he was up out of Michigan State, formerly of Wake Forest, in the draft a few years ago. But now he's going to be in Kansas City, leading the backfield and giving Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Eric Bieniemy an actual versatile weapon out of the backfield. Guys, welcome back to RGR Football. Today, I'm back in the film room. I know it's been a few weeks. We've been having to take time off from doing draft prospects and things like that because of some battles going on behind the scenes, but we are bringing it back today. If you guys are new to the channel, please hit that sub button right now, become a member here at Rogue Nation, and follow along while we have multiple different film reviews. I'm going to be doing a couple of different free agents as well. Not the ones that you guys know, obviously, but maybe a Chris Tonga or an Alohi Gilman, somebody like that, just to get more information on these players. But today is all about the new man in the backfield, Kenneth Walker, the most explosive running back the Chiefs have seen since Damian Williams, and the best running back since Jamal Charles. So let's go ahead and dive into the tape, you guys, because I'm not Ryan Tracy. That's not true. My name is Daniel Harms. Ryan's got these in the same spot, so sometimes I click on it, and that's not where that's supposed to be. But regardless, you guys, my name is Daniel Harms. I am the senior film analyst here, and that's what we're doing today. We're talking about the film of Kenneth Walker. Now, I think the big talking point and the big thing that everyone thinks about when they think about Kenneth Walker is this right here. Somebody who sees a 3rd and 30 and tries to make something big happen every single time. Like if you look at this play probably could have gone for a more than okay gain this way if he follows Cooper Kupp right this way and he gets out into space. He probably still gets tackled, but one thing that he consistently does is even with the defender like right here, starting to close on him. You've got defenders here closing the gap, right? He's like, you know what? I see all this space. Everyone's condensing on me. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to go make something happen, right? He makes a guy miss. He goes back inside, goes outside, makes somebody, again, miss in space, but on 3rd and 30, 15-yard gain, and it's all said and done. Like, I feel like this is the idea that's in people's minds of Kenneth Walker, a guy who is only out there to generate explosive plays. He doesn't grind things out. He doesn't do a whole lot else besides bring in those explosive plays. But there's a lot more to him than people give him credit for in my mind. And one thing you're going to notice here is that for the Seattle Seahawks, there's going to be a mix of these first couple of plays where you've got under center and you've got in the shotgun. That might be a little bit of a change for Kenneth Walker because the Chiefs are still going to run predominantly out of shotgun. This isn't going to change their entire philosophy. However, I do think that Eric Bieniemy coming back and having DeMarco Murray in the coaching staff as well is going to change some of the usage of under center runs. But this is really where I think he excels. Multiple different inside zone, outside zone. One thing I will say when we get to it is the outside zone does bring out not necessarily the worst in him because he can still create big plays, cut back lanes, and things like that. But it feeds into that get outside mentality, which we will talk about here. But this is just, again, good job following your blocks and creating problems in the back end. So first and foremost, the Seahawks love to do, they come out in this, 12 personnel. They've got bunch down here attached to the line of scrimmage with a single wide receiver out here. Again, to say we run a little slant right here and then boot out. Safety has to make sure, okay, I can't just go downhill quickly, right? I have to make sure that ball does not go to Sam Darnold's hand, and then we get an easy touchdown to Jackson Smith-Njigba, who's singled up one-on-one on the outside. So we have to idealize that for the safety, and this is where Kenneth Walker does his work. So right here, he's processing, right? He's got the ball. He kind of takes a little bit of a turn outside, just a touch, so he kind of comes this way, and now his eyes are processing everything. So he's looking, where am I going, right? Where can I start going? Well, multiple different ways that I can start to take this, but you see the lane. Number 49's turned. He got that. The block is starting to push that way, and he creates the angle that the safety can't recover from. So you've got a little bit of a double team right here, but this is, again, outside zone or inside zone. Let me just kind of forward process here really quickly. So based on the angle of the running back, again, to that outside hip, of the tackle. This is outside zone. Everyone's galloping downhill. And this is just, again, a good block. You've got a single block here. 81's going to give hand, help, and get to the next level. Block down. Everyone's on a man, right? You got body on a body. He's reading his blocks. He sees this coming up, right? Boom. This is exactly what you want to see. Body, body, give me a lane. I'm going to go right through it. And again, when you see that safety, then start to see, okay, quarterback doesn't have the ball. Now I have to get downhill and I have to get a better angle. He's going to where Kenneth Walker is getting to the hole, right? He sees that and he's able to identify, okay, I have to get to this point. But right here, this is already where he's lost because the acceleration getting through the line of scrimmage for Kenneth Walker is insane. Around 10 to 11 miles per hour at the line of scrimmage this season. Second most in the NFL behind Jahmyr Gibbs, I believe. No, Kenneth Gainwell. Sorry, it was Kenneth Gainwell, not Jahmyr Gibbs. And Jahmyr Gibbs comes up a little bit later here, but that's what we're talking about with decimating angles, right? We talk about that with speed, and we've seen it with Tyreek Hill. We've seen it with even to an extent Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, but angles with running backs. I mean, even Isaiah Pacheco in his prime was able to, and unfortunately his prime is pretty much past him because of the injuries, but you're able to create advantageous angles with your acceleration through the line of scrimmage, and those safeties processing when they're a little bit late behind the scenes, they can get caught and lost in the shuffle. So that's one thing I think he does really well, reading blocks. Okay, he does an excellent job of seeing where those bodies are, where the defenders are, and then making a play to get into space, locating space, finding space, those second and third level identifying blocks. He's so good at that. So that's one thing that I really appreciate from that. One thing, again, we'll see here, you got two high safety from the Titans. All right, cool. We are going to run the football inside zone from the Seahawks here. And then again, you already noticed that when he's coming up to the line of scrimmage, his body language changes based on where he reads the defense going. So if you can tell really quickly right here that he's supposed to be going, this way towards the left side, but we've got overflow from the linebacker, a little bit of overflow here. And then you got that split coming back around from number 18. And that's exactly where he's going to follow. He understands leverage. He sees the second level flow quickly, right? And when you are a team that runs the football effectively, like the Seahawks do, you do tend to get outnumbered in the run game. On the defensive side. So again, one thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of draw a line down the middle here from the center and then over. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defenders on that strong side of the formation, right? That's what we see. Kenneth Walker sees 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders on the backside, and they're going to be adding an offensive blocker here. So it's 4 on 4 if we divide it this way, right? That is far more advantageous for him. And again, with the flow of the offensive line, everyone's going to kind of take a step to the left, and he sees that too. So instead, he's going to come up through here. Again, we got a little bit of a block here, a double team to the second level, another double team working this way towards the second level. And then that's what he's going to see, right? So, split comes across here. You're going to have a space player, AJ Barner, getting to the next level. And Kenneth Walker sees all of this. This is exactly what he's so good at doing. When you have that intention, right? I posted a clip on Twitter about the peripheral vision of Kenneth Walker and intention of the offensive line with the play itself. You're going to the left, but I can angle my body to go right this way and seamlessly continue to accelerate and then just have those short hesitation movements that create space. So when we talk about running backs that are elusive, that are explosive, they're not necessarily herky-jerky movements, right? One thing we saw about Isaiah Pacheco was that everything looked like he was always high effort, like so high running, lifting his knees, shaking his shoulders. Everything Kenneth Walker does is smooth. Like even his shoulder shimmy is smooth. It's accelerating while you're moving, not having to stop and start and turn. Those are the things that really make Kenneth Walker an elite inside zone player. I do believe inside zone is his best run. I think you can run multiple things, trap, you can run counter, you can run power, all these different things he does well. But I do think from under center as well as shotgun, he runs these inside zone plays very, very well, not only because he can see things at an elite level specifically from the second level and how they flow, but because he has that natural feel behind the line of scrimmage that we all saw in the postseason, where he's able to kind of be patient and go from left to right. Inside zone from shotgun, again, you're going to see he kind of sees everything happening here. He gets this number 0 coming off the line of scrimmage. He feels that, right? He feels that with his right eye. He sees the peripheral vision here. And again, he's trying to get into space here. But one thing he also understands is that if he has to hug that offensive line to his right, he's got defenders kind of closing him in on him this way. So he's like, all right, well, I gotta get down the line of scrimmage, but we're gonna bounce off, use that momentum from number 0, spin off, and then stay accelerating. Balance while understanding different leverage angles and movement styles are really what make him an elite player in terms of breaking some of the tackles that he does. I won't say he's not going to put his shoulder down and bowl guys over, but his balance is exceptional. And he does a really great job, again, of just kind of understanding the angle to get here. He's running, he sees number 0 come across, go around the back. So here he sees number 53 coming down to hit him right here. So he lowers that shoulder while he's getting that momentum swing and push from the DB behind him and who's trying to wrap him up. So right there, he uses that to spin off, and then he just keeps going. It's seamless. He feels that coming through. He sees the play. He sees the linebacker right there, and then he just uses all of that momentum and keeps moving forward. So the leg drive, the balance, the ability to see different angles and different defenders that are coming through to him. Again, what separates him from a lot of running backs in the league. Now, this is where Kenneth Walker will get into trouble. This is his biggest problem. I don't think he has a ton of holes in his game. He's not the best pass protector. I mean, he's not a wide receiver out there. Like, but those aren't truly negatives. Pass protection might be a negative at times. This is a negative, okay? For a guy who shared a backfield for most of his career in Seattle with Zach Charbonnet, that bigger back, he's out there to create explosives, right? So you got outside zone structure here. And instead of just taking what's there, what he sees, he goes outside. Okay. He bounces this outside. Now, I've seen a lot of people talk about his vision and say he doesn't have good vision, or that he's not say Travis Etienne's vision is better than his. And I don't believe that's true. All right. I think that this is just how he operates. So you've got this outside zone structure with the split motion from the wide receiver, Rashid Shaheed. So you've got everyone kind of getting out, right? Let's get outside. I'm also going to say that I think that he's coached a little bit like this. He's got some bad habits from Wake Forest, for sure, where he was always trying to make up for the offensive line. But these are more coached bad habits, in my opinion, because right here, or not enforced, excuse me, this is exactly where he needs to be. This is a good lane to go right through here or get into this point, stop, and then go back this way. That's something that I've seen him do multiple times, something that he's extremely good at, okay? But instead, he's going to take this outside. He doesn't get upfield right here. So pressing outside, thinking he can be faster than a lot of players to the edge is definitely something that he has that creates negative plays, okay? This is not necessarily a negative play because he gets a couple yards out of it, but you see what I mean, where this could have been at least a 4, 5, 6 yard gain, turns into maybe like a 2-yard gain. So this is another play exactly like that. You've got right fullback in the backfield, Robbie Utz from Alabama, where sometimes you just got to put your shoulder down and go forward instead of going backwards and getting a negative play. In Kansas City, we've seen negative plays happen because guys just aren't athletic enough to make them not be negative plays. And even with their physicality, they're unable to make it happen. So the biggest problem with Kenneth Walker is that as a running back, he does bounce it outside too often. Sometimes you just need to, again, put your foot in the ground, get upfield, just kind of cut back right now, get upfield, see what you can get. But he has the idea, and I mean, for the most part, he's right about it, that he's faster than a lot of these guys and he can create those movements. So that's something that will be a pain to watch. You'll see him create negative plays multiple times, and that's okay because that's going to happen no matter what. I want to see Eric Bieniemy and DeMarco Murray specifically help him with those little details, because that's one thing that I think was lacking a little bit from his coaching at Wake Forest, at Michigan State, and even at Seattle at points where the payoff from those explosive plays was so big that they didn't care so much about those little details. And you can see multiple times there are tons of pitches and trying to force him outside. So I take that with a little bit of grain of salt. And again, I don't believe it's his vision. I believe his vision is great. And specifically, you're going to see why in a couple of reasons right here, because he's got such good feel and ability in the open field. Just he sees gaps and lanes open up that we know that guys like Isaiah Pacheco can't. And even Kareem Hunt, even though we saw those lanes, he wasn't able to get into them. So you try to do too much, you can get into trouble. But I think that the biggest thing from Kenneth Walker is that inside zone is his best run. But I do think being coached with those little details on outside zone, from shotgun, from under center, he can continue to get better. He's 25 years old. Like the peak for Kenneth Walker might have been the Super Bowl run, like what we see him at his best. I think he can still get better from the detail perspective and then continue to play at that level. So when you got to get upfield, man, sometimes you just got to make it happen. So again, inside zone right here, this is where we see that block. You got double team right here. Another receiver coming downhill, get to the next level, block, and then block down. So everyone move to the left, take that first step. You're going to see the natural rush lanes come up, right? And then this is where you see linebackers from the Cardinals. He's trying to come down here. He sees the hole. All right, so we're going to fill in here. But we also have to pay attention because if Kenneth Walker presses, he can pop it outside. So that safety can't get down too deep because if he does, he will pop it outside and make this a more explosive play than he actually does. But this is, again, he takes that step outside. So that little ability to pop this run outside brings number 50, I believe that's Cody Simon, downhill towards the offensive line. Now he can't find Kenneth Walker. He can't see him because the offensive linemen are right there in his face and the blocks are getting to him. So Walker comes right here. He sees, all right, he's got outside leverage, but if I understand, I can't go right through here because that linebacker is going to come through and get me. So we're going to navigate traffic. And he already sees the left side of the field wide open and he can get into it. That little shoulder dip, right? He made, I believe that's Jalen Thompson in the open field right there, where he just gives him a little bit of a right here, left step jab, and then shoulder coming at him, makes him stop, hesitate, and then he blows right by him and he falls down almost. Like that's not Thompson, it's somebody else. So number 29, my apologies. Either way, in the open field, he has stutter steps. He can do multiple different things with his shoulders. He has a good stiff arm. And then right there, you see Budda Baker comes over across the line, across the field, and he stays on his feet, even going out of bounds. Like the balance from Kenneth Walker is truly special. I believe it's one of his assets that creates. We saw that play where he spins off of a tackle, off of another tackle, and keeps going. Like he has real elements of special running back ability that you don't see all the time, and something we haven't seen in Kansas City in a while. This is a simple play, right? It's a simple 5, 6, 7 yard gain. But what do we do? What do we see? Inside zone, we got number 91, Kobe Turner in our face. All right, we're just going to take it out this way. Like he creates this. What happens in this play if that's Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco? It's a negative play. They get tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Like we see these inside zone plays, right? Where you've got almost like an insert from Seattle, but you got down blocks, step in this way, double teams, step down. And that's one thing I will say about the Seattle offensive line is that while it wasn't perfect all the time, they played hard. In the run game, they were consistently moving people, getting out in space, getting to the next level, opening up those lanes for Kenneth Walker. If this running game is going to not only get better, but be exceptional and something you can count on consistently, that's where I believe the Chiefs need to get better. Because yes, adding Kenneth Walker will naturally make the plays that you have designed and drawn up work better, but your offensive line has to continue to impose their will throughout the game. I'm not saying you come out here and you bring in a fullback like the Seattle did with Robbie Oots right there, but if you can consistently do what the offensive line needs to be able to do, you're going to create problems. And this is another thing that Seattle dealt with a lot because they're very good at running the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This player out here. Run through real quick. Sorry. So you've got 8 men in the box. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's an 8-man box. Kenneth Walker faced a ton more 8-man heavy boxes than he'll face in Kansas City. But again, just look how quickly and seamlessly he makes that lateral adjustment, that lateral move, that press pop, and he's able to get out in space. So he is a special type of player in a backfield with Patrick Mahomes. I think is going to be hugely impressive. Another thing that he did, Kenneth Walker forced a missed tackle on 30.2% of his combined carries and receptions this year, the second highest in the NFL among players with at least 150 total touches, trailing only Jaylen Warren, who we know played another part-time role in Pittsburgh. This is something he's so good at, guys, in space, creating missed tackles, stringing them along. And that's something out of Michigan State you could see. And again, this is what I'm talking about, where he's not out here running wide receiver routes. This is just a flare out to the flat. Sam Darnold gets down to the check down, but you see how one comes back to the football, right? He's not drifting into space. He stops and he comes back just a little bit. What does that do? That creates a little bit of space here, and that's all he needs. He has a less athletic player in space on him, a defensive lineman, and then from there, dude, he can just keep going. There's the stiff arm. He lowers his shoulder there to get a little bit more. He creates different ways that you can make guys miss. He's a sound catcher of the football too. Like, he doesn't have a ton of drops. He's just a reliable receiver. Isaiah Pacheco was for the most part, reliable receiver, but he couldn't do this. Remember all the times we see him get the catches in the flat, and then he just gets tackled right away? That's something, it's disgusting to watch. Let's just say it. It was disgusting to watch. So making guys miss, again, one of his big strengths. He also recorded 33 explosive runs that resulted in a gain of 10 or more yards this season, the 6th most in the NFL, and 21 more than his teammate Zach Charbonnet with 12. How many explosive runs did the Chiefs running backs have last year? I believe it was 1 or 2. Maybe that's a little bit low, but you guys get the point. You understand. Patrick Mahomes led the team in explosive runs of 10 or more yards. I believe he had the highest mile per hour rate too when he was scrambling. It's a different level. But again, what are you seeing? Look at all that space. Yeah, he can deal with guys in the backfield. He can make guys miss in the backfield. But when you don't have to, man, it's just really, really nice. This is something the Chiefs' offensive line is going to have to continue to do. And this is just a accentuation of his talents. When you can get him not always having to be the patient backfield watcher waiting for those holes to open up, which he can do, absolutely, as we've seen. But you got a fullback, lead blocking. I think the Chiefs are going to do a little bit more of this year. Maybe not necessarily with a traditional fullback, but an H-back type player. But look at how quickly the offensive lineman gets on to the second level linebacker. And then all it is Kenneth Walker reading, okay, I see, all right, no big deal. Really excellent weaver, right? I've got one player here. I've got a number 74 on my offensive lineman. He's getting down on a block. So let's go ahead. Weave in and out. You see, go that way. Oh, I'm going to go around now. It's not just the way he can string moves together in the open field. It's the way his eyes function. He sees, he can segment, boom, boom, boom. He can go down the line with that excellent peripheral vision. He can differentiate between offensive line and then secondary member, right? All right, arm tackle, not a problem. He keeps going through arm tackles because of that balance, that natural way that he runs behind his shoulder pads. He has great initial body control. Like that, all of these things are truly impressive about Kenneth Walker. And then on top of it, we see sideline awareness, right? Again, this is where some of that bouncing it outside really comes into play for you. And he's able to stay up, not just getting an extra couple of yards, right? Where you see a play like this, oftentimes when a running back is stalled in the backfield because of a block not really working out, they just kind of pull around here, block down, blocked down, and he gets caught on a block. Okay, well, the running back has to figure out, I need to get outside or I go there initially, but typically they get caught right here because you've got number 44 and another player that can kind of eke around. But Kenneth Walker creates better angles. So he kind of comes up to that offensive line, right? Then he bounces it out. You would think he'd be dead to rights right here because you, again, have a free runner, a couple of guys in pursuit that are getting downhill. But no, angles, speed, that curvilinear acceleration. You guys don't know what that means? It's the ability to accelerate up an arc like this, okay? That ankle flexion, we talk about it with pass rushers, right? They have to have the ability to bend their ankles to be able to get around and down the line. Running backs and wide receivers need that too, to be able to accelerate while their ankles are bending, essentially. And that's another thing that you see really apparent on Kenneth Walker's tape. And then he can kind of put his feet in the ground and cut upfield with that balance that he has at the sideline. You see someone diving at his legs. Nope, he stays in bounds. He stays upright, and he keeps going for a big explosive down the sideline. Now, I'm not here promoting running backs always bouncing it outside, but one thing I will say is it's nice to see a running back that can do it. We saw Brashard Smith do it like once or twice last year, and he made a couple of really nice plays. When you are so limited in what you can do offensively from the running back standpoint, it is a big, big problem. So that is another thing that he's really going to bring to the table. And look, I told you guys I was going to give you one of the things in the passing game that is a true superpower of his. What's one thing Andy Reid loves more than just about anything when it comes to running backs and having them in the backfield in the passing game, right? Being able to use them in the screen game. That is a huge thing. Kenneth Walker gained 11 yards after the catch per reception this season, the fifth most among receivers with at least 25 receptions. And of his 282 net receiving yards, 121 of them were gained on screen passes. So you got 9 targets, 8 receptions. His 121 screen yards were a career high and the second most among running backs, trailing only Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay. All of these stats, thank you, via next gen stats on pro.nfl.com. The screen game in Kansas City has been broken for a few years now. We can directly correlate that to a problem with the running backs. Kareem Hunt has been the best screen back in Kansas City, but he hasn't been able to create big explosive plays. Kenneth Walker is going to bring that in Kansas City because of what we just have seen with the ability to weave in and out of traffic, to go behind his blocks and to create explosive plays, to have that balance. When he gets moving and up to speed, he can do anything he wants. But this right here, this is the reason he's in Kansas City. It's the explosive touchdown ability. One thing we have not seen in years in Kansas City is a consistent, explosive threat. That has been true, something we really want to see. And again, the Seahawks do a really nice job. You get motion to the left side of the offensive line from pre-snap. The offensive line is blocking down this way, right? So half and half, right? What Kenneth Walker's path is this way. So they create a natural wall split of the offensive line, blocking down here. You're going to get to the next level here. But this is what Kenneth Walker, again, identifying defenders, identifying blockers. I see an out-leveraged block right here. So Cam Kitchens, number 26, a safety, okay? You got Spates coming downhill here. Linebackers, again, on this side. So he knows if he goes to the left, he's got 2 linebackers to face. If he goes to the right, he has 2 safeties. I like Cam Curl. Cam Kitchens is a fine player. But let me tell you, I know where I'm going with this. And then you got a late, and this is, again, he presses to the left. He presses this way, and then he's going to bounce it. He bounces it backside. Boom, and then it's over. There is nothing any of these players can do. They can't catch up to him. They can't do anything. If there was a couple more yards down there, he could have kept going and accelerating and finding that. But that pressing the hole, right? If we go back to Kareem Hunt when he came out, even Clyde Edwards-Helaire to an extent, when they came out of college, one thing they were really good at was pressing the hole and going somewhere else. So if you can get these defenders, right, moving one way. See, even Cam Kinches is fighting this way. Spates down. You've got number 58 coming down here. Even Cam Curl, his intention is all towards the right of the defense, the left of the offensive line. If you can make all those players do it, and then you have the athletic gifts, the quickness, the ability to accelerate with that curvilinear acceleration, and then just boom, on a dime, you're going to create explosives. So Kenneth Walker is more than just a pure runner. I think he's an excellent, one of the best pure runners in the NFL, but he can bring everything from a true running back perspective. I think he has excellent vision. He's not going to just, like I said, put his shoulder down, consistently break tackles like 2018 Kareem Hunt and bowl guys over that way. Not his style, but instead he uses his acceleration, his natural athletic gifts, that ability to make people miss in space, and then the natural second and third level weaving ability, the vision to see where defenders are going, line them up in his brain, and then just find a path, like plot it out before it even happens. That is a superpower in and of itself, and he brings it into Kansas City. I'm excited to watch Kenneth Walker in a Chiefs uniform, not only because we haven't really seen a running back like this since Jamal Charles, but because it's another weapon available to Patrick Mahomes and the offense, and that is something they really needed over the past couple of seasons. The run game has gone the way of the dinosaur in Kansas City. It's been more utilized as we have to do it, so we're going to do it. It now needs to be we want to do it, and that's going to be, I think, with Kenneth Walker, Eric Bieniemy, DeMarco Murray, and this offensive line, going to be the forefront of bringing him in to Kansas City. So I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. It was a lot of fun to watch a running back who knows how to get into space and then exploit it when he does. Please, if you guys are new to the channel, hit that sub button right now, become a member at Rogue Nation, and then take 2 seconds, hit the like button. It really helps out the channel, gets us out there to more of Chiefs Kingdom. We will have more content for you guys with free agency continuing on. Brian, myself, and everyone here provides every single week, and we can't wait to see you guys again on Monday for the Q&A with all the more information that we're going to have. So please enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.